Hey, this is Tyler Sweat, Accessible Media Specialist for the Iowa Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. From time to time, I get links sent to me for people to check accessibility, and it could be a PowerPoint presentation that they're giving. It could be something they're sending out, after a presentation. They want me to check accessibility, and there seems to be a common sort of trend of issues that people have. So I want to kind of address those big ones that I see a lot of today, and just sort of the easy ways to fix them. With most of these issues, it's just knowing where to go to find the information and to fix it. So from that, I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint and we are going to start from there. All right, so first thing we're talking about in PowerPoint is the Z order or selection pane. So whenever a screen reader gets onto a PowerPoint, you want it to read it. You want the information in order for the screen reader. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to Arrange. So this is in the Home panel. We go to Arrange, go down to Selection Pane. Now this is going to pull up on the right. It's going to pull up your selection pane, and it's going to have everything that exists on this page. Now, I know this may sound confusing, but the selection pane reads from bottom to top. So a screen reader is going to start with the title, and it's going to go up. Now, if you notice here, Talkback is the next thing after title. So let's say I don't want that to talk first. I want the screen reader to pick up the voiceover text box first. So literally all you have to do is grab it and move it, and it'll switch those two around. So then it'll go here, here. So we got to move that around. There we go. Here, and then boom. So that's all you got to do is click and drag, and it'll move it where it needs to go. One thing to be aware of, though, is that if let's say you create something or you insert something and it's off to the side or there's nothing in it. So if I create this rectangle out of frame down here, it's going to show up. So when you're in presentation mode or when someone's, trying to go through with the screen reader, it's going to pick up this rectangle, even though this rectangle might mean nothing. You could have been designing something and it could have messed up and you just left it in there and forgot. So that's the other thing, that when you pull this up, it'll kind of show you everything on that page so that you can clean it up. So if I was on this page and I was like rectangle, I could click on it, it would bring it up, and then I could go like, oh yeah, duh, and then delete it. When it comes to just selection pane, I think the easiest way to make sure that it is, as good as possible is by using the slide layouts built in. So by sticking with these and then just dropping in your content into those specific areas, it keeps the order. But when you do something like a blank slide and you start throwing a bunch of stuff in there, that's where it's really, really important to go back and check that selection pane and really make sure that everything's in order from bottom to top on how you want the page to read with the screen reader. Okay, next we're going to go over alt text. Now, if you know how to do alt text on other Word documents, it's pretty much the same thing. So whenever you have a picture, if a lot of times the default alt text will be the name of the picture, which sometimes is 1237563.jpg, which doesn't give the user any information if they're using a screen reader. So that's why it's important that we fix that. Pretty simple to get in there. So I'm going to close my selection pane here. We're going to go right click on the picture. We're going to go down to Format Picture. So it's then going to pull something up over here. And then the Size and Properties option, we're going to click that. And then the bottom one is Alt Text. And so this is where they do give you a little bit of tips on alt text if you hover over the I. Making sure that it's quick and concise and gives the person all of the information that they need. Also, don't put all the information in the title. The title is just the title. So for this one, it would be Braille display with keyboard. And then for the description, this is where I'm going to talk about what's going on in the picture. So person reading electronic Braille on Braille device with keyboard. So that describes what's going on in the picture, gives the title. So now when the screen reader goes over it, it'll make sure that it says exactly what I just typed into there. And just like we talked about with the Z order, it's really important that anytime you add pictures in and you're moving things around is that you go back Go back to that selection pane. Okay, the picture's the last thing it's going to read. Perfect. That's how I want it. Now, one more thing we're going to talk about is color contrast. Now, when we talk about color contrast, that's for low vision users, that's a big deal because having the wrong color contrast can make a huge difference on how accessible the document is. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this website. This is from WebAIM, and it is probably my favorite color contrast checker. So from here, you have foreground color and background color. So treat foreground color like your text color if you want, and then your background color, What I like about this is if you go down here, it gives you WCAG and sort of for normal text, large text, and then if you're using like a text box, so like a selectable text box. So if you don't know what WCAG is, the short answer is it's sort of the standard for accessibility on websites. So it's sort of a great system that's been put in place to help discern what is accessible and what isn't, especially when coming with accessibility. They also have a really good explanation of what it means and sort of like what ratio you're looking for between the different text, between normal text and large text. But just so for right now, everything's passing. Go down to here, that black text with a white background, 21:1 contrast ratio. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. So if I go up to red here, everything fails except for AA on the large text. So then, you can kind of adjust your colors. Everything's going to fail. Yeah. So now your background's blue, text is red. That just looks terrible. So that's why, one thing, even changing things like how light it is within that will make a difference. And so just just kind of playing around with it and seeing what works, or just making sure that what you have in place is already accessible. So that's all I got about PowerPoint. If you have any other information or want to check out our YouTube channel, it is youtube.com/Iowa Department for the Blind. Iowa is spelled out. We have a lot of different resources. We post a lot of our webinars that we do from time to time, as well as just other information that could be useful. So go ahead and check it out. And if you like what you saw today, feel free to click that subscribe button. All right, thanks.